syndication exclusively at www.nostarradio.com. Now, it's time to exchange your views.
Welcome. This is the View Exchange. I'm Ann, your host for this program. And today I want to talk about something that's really very dear to me. I've been out and about in my city today, and one thing a lot of young people are still talking about, and I'm somewhat surprised, and that is their IRS tax refund. Does America realize that a lot of very low-income people, especially young people that have student loans, have not gotten their IRS refunds? There's been some kind of a holdup, and most of them don't know why, and you can't get through to nobody. I mean, this is something that's quite concerning to me. I mean, the Democrats say that, they're all about helping the little person, but when you're withholding people's tax return checks for this length of time, and some people said they never got one from last year. A lot of young people, single-headed household mothers. And I'm just wondering, what's going on in the IRS and what's going on in the country, and why the Democrats and the news media isn't doing anything or reporting on this. I mean, this is something that's really kind of serious. I mean, this involves a lot of child earned income tax credit. And that money is for these children to help their parents pay rent, to pay light bills, to pay water bills, to buy their clothes, to help get food. And after, listening and talking, a lot of them are reporting that the IRS is holding the child earned income tax credit for the parents' debt on student loan. And I just was sitting and listening, and I say, what? Because to me, this makes no doggone sense. When in the world did something that was meant for a child be held back for a debt that their parents owe? And it started me to thinking, when President Obama went to bat for these, what he called the dreamers, children who are brought to this country by their parents, and he said, you can't blame the children for something their parents done. And he went on and on and on, and he has done all kinds of programs and things to help these dreamers, which is pretty much very young kids who are brought to this country by their parents. Excuse me. And he's bent over backwards to try to help them. And now I'm learning and hearing and understanding that it's still going on quite frequently, that the IRS is holding low-income parents' child earned income tax credit and putting that money towards the parents' student loan debt. Well, if the illegal immigrant children who came to this country with their parents cannot be held responsible for what their parents done, how in the world can this United States government and the IRS hold the American children hostage for something that their parents done? Some of these loans and things were taken out before these children were even born. But if the government, that's what hurts a lot of low-income people. The government will run and holler, there is a program out there. And then when people try to take advantage of it, the government is going to tweak on their side to try to handicap or hold or keep people ineligible to use that program. And I am just completely outraged. I am so outraged that I just want to scream. Because it's like this. The government say, we're going to help children. We're going to give every child, this earned income tax credit money, simply because they are alive in the United States. They are entitled to this money. And then they're going to turn right around and say, because your parents owe the government on student loans who can't get a job because The jobs, majority of the jobs are gone overseas. Even filling out people's tax return papers sometimes is outsourced to people overseas. And then the ones they do have in this country are not very knowledgeable about filling out the tax forms, and they flip-flop people's information and just make a doggone mess out of it. But I am just so outraged that a child is being held hostage for a debt that their parents incurred. So why is the government giving people these child earned income tax credits if they're going to then turn around and hold that money for the parents' student loan debt? I want America to think about that. People are sitting back waiting to get that money to help catch up on their rent, to catch up on their light bills, their heating bills, their car notes, so that their children can get around, so that they can have a place to stay, to buy clothes, sometimes to pay for dental and health needs. And the government don't send them no check because they're going to say, oh, we're going to take that child's money and flip it over for your parents' debt. That is absolutely crazy, and I can't understand if that is legal. And if it is legal, it should become illegal to take an innocent child's money and use it toward a parent's debt in the United States of America. And then we're going to turn right around and say that the Dreamer kids cannot be held accountable for what their parents done. Accountable is accountable. So, Mr. President, if the Dreamer kids cannot be held accountable for what their parents done, why in the world are you allowing the Democratic government and the IRS to punish the American children for something their parents done? And the reason their parents aren't paying their student loans, you know this, there is no jobs. You know this. You know this, that there is no jobs. And primarily this is affecting the minorities. I know it's affecting a lot of blacks. The people I hear talking about today were blacks. But I'm sure it's hurting the low-income whites too, because the low-income whites can't get jobs either. Some of the Native Americans can't get jobs either. Some of the Haitians and Dominicans, Puerto Rico, they can't get jobs either. And people were counting on that child, even if they had taken what the parents were due. Even if the government took that, they were kind of still saying, okay, we know they can't take our child's money. So we'll just have to cut back and, and use that and pay a little bit here and pay a little bit there. But they are holding the child's earned income tax credit money to pay on a bill that the parents incurred. That is not, then the government is doing that, especially the Democratic government, to make themselves look good. And that is just not right. And I cannot understand how a black man, so they say in the White House, can let this go on when he know or should know how this can be hurting people. Young black people, especially head of the household mothers, have lost their apartments, have lost their homes, have lost their cars, and are on the street simply because they were counting on getting that money. And it's still going on. I mean, if the government is going to give your child something on one hand, and then soon as you get ready to head off to the bank, they're going to take it back with the other. And that is just right down plain brutal. And there's no humanity in that. When I hear President Obama and the Democrats go on the TV and on Twitter and complain about, the American people won't be humanitarian toward the Syrian refugee children and the Latin illegals. Well, for a lot of us, we are beginning to get really pissed off, because this president and the Democratic government and the news media is showing no humility. When I get really angry, I get really angry. For the American children, the government say, we're going to give you this. And parents are expecting to receive that money. And then they get a letter that says, they don't even keep part. They keep all of that child earned income tax credit and send them a letter saying we're using that child's money to pay for your parents' debt. When did this start being the rule of law in this country? That a child has to be held responsible, a young child, a minor child, has to be held responsible for their parents' debt, or what their parents do. When President Obama has said himself that the dreamer kids cannot be held responsible for their parents bringing them here and educating them in this country. But then he don't see the same situation toward the American kids when the Democrats and his IRS is doing that to them. Mr. President, stand up tomorrow and say, I'm gonna email at IRS and say release all of that child earned income tax credit to these parents. If the parent is due anything, then you take the parent's money. But don't hold these children's money hostage for something that their parents has done. I mean, I'm just so outraged. I'm so angry. I'm so pissed. Because for years and years and years and years, we have told the low-income whites, the blacks, the Native American Indians, and all the other minorities that education is what you got to get. Education is what you've got to get. So these black parents took out loans from the government because they were going to have jobs. And then the government up and flip-flops and brings in all these illegals and all these refugees, and the jobs just kind of disappeared. Now they got all this student debt, and they count on having that child income tax credit to help them out of a hole, and the government snatches that back. That is just not right. And nobody in America is talking about it because these are very low, medium, and low income people. I mean, a lot of them got their college degree, but if you ain't bringing in no big bucks, you're considered low income or no income. And then on top of that, now with this Obamacare, if you didn't take it, the President of the United States and his partners are going to put another penalty on you of close to $700. $690, $695 for not taking out something that you can't afford and that you don't want. Because if you go to the hospital have got alternatives. They can garnish you if you're working. They can put a lien against your house. They can get their money. The government should not force a person into debt, especially a young person who's already struggling. And then on top of that, they won't give them that children's child income tax credits. I mean, if the media would report this and let the world see what America is doing to American children, they will get on there and say, oh yeah, we've got this child income tax program that's supposed to help low-income children. But what the media will not tell you and the Democrats will not tell you is that government, pretty much 9 times out of 10, is not giving these children that money. They are saying on paper they're giving these children that money, but then they're snatching it back and rolling it over on these parents' loans. And that is just plain out and out dirty. You are taking money away from American children, but then you've got illegals that come into this country that the government is paying to go to Berkeley and Harvard and Princeton and UCLA and Virginia Tech and Ohio State and Michigan State and all these other big name schools. And some of these go to these big name schools that cost over $100,000 a year. And they illegal, or they President Obama's favorite group, the American children who came here when they were children. And he's going to watch their back. He's going to cover them. The dreamers. That's what he calls them, the dreamers. He's going to look out for them. And all these other illegal kids coming across the border, he's going to put them up. And he's going to look out for them. But President Obama is really spitting in the face of the American children. I mean, I don't care whether anybody likes it or not. I'm going to say it. It seems like President Obama and the Democrats have got a very, very strong vendetta against the American low income. And the reason they are low income because he has not done anything in the last 8 years for them to have jobs. And then he wants to let the IRS withhold their child earned income tax credits. Check. I don't even know how much it is now per child. Some people say it's $2,000 a child. I don't really know. This is one good thing about getting out and being invisible in your city, town, your area. Because I can't be in every city and town and county to be invisible, to see what people are talking about. No, I ain't got my check. Oh, yeah, I got a letter from them saying that they're going to hold all of my income tax, including my child earned income tax credits, because I owe some student loan that I can't pay because I don't have a job. It's just a double-edged sword. It just goes round and round and round and round. So he's taking these children's money, putting it back in the pot to pay off their parents' loan so that he can give money to the illegals and to refugees to go to school. That's what it seems to me that he's doing. And if that isn't an insult, that is no American values. I mean, it would almost be better if the government wasn't going to give them nothing, because it hurts to give you something. You know, a lot of children says, why? Why is the government treating us like this? Why is the government taking and holding our money? Why? If that is for children, shouldn't children get it? No matter what their parents do? Wouldn't that be the right and fair thing to do? I mean, it's just heartbreaking. It is really heartbreaking to know that a single mother, 2 or 3 children, who worked a little bit but didn't make enough to really make a dent in a student loan payment. They can ask for, having their loans deferred. The government won't let them defer them. I mean, if you don't have a job, what else can you do but defer it? You can't go out and pull money off of trees. You can't pay a student loan off working at McDonald's with a couple of kids and trying to pay rent and pay your light bill. So if you can get that child income tax credit money in a lump sum like that, and you get kind of caught up, you can do pretty good with a low, really, really low income job. But once you start slipping down that slippery slope, you can never get caught up. And I just don't understand how the United States go. Isn't that illegal to hold a minor child responsible for their parents' debt in the United States of America? That is just crazy, and it's unfair. There's no American values in that. There's no humanity in that, Mr. President. There is no humanity in that. When a woman is sitting at home waiting for that money and it don't come, and her lights get cut out, or her gas gets cut off, or she gets an eviction notice on her door, how do you think it makes her children feel? That's what I'd like to ask the president and all his Democratic buddies there in Washington, D.C. But I honest to God believe that the president and the Democrats in Congress and the House of Representatives and the Democrats in the media, the liberal media, I think they have a vendetta against the very poor in this country and the downtrodden. Because there is no reason in this world why they withhold the child earned income tax credit. It's for the child. I mean, that's just what it is. It is for the child. Don't these people up there realize that it is for the child? It's not to pay off the parents' student loan debt. It is to pay that child's rent. It is help to pay that child's light bill, that child's heating bill, to buy food, to buy clothes, to take that child to the dentist. That's what the child earned income tax credit money is for. It's not for the government to withhold and put back in the pot so they can give it out to somebody else. excuse me, when I get so angry, it's just like I get choked up. I mean, to me, it hurts me. It really does. It hurts me so bad because it's kind of like, the low income people don't count. It's like the low income children don't count. Just like, kind of like if you just watch Roots or Underground, it's like, black children don't count. You can just pull a child away from his mother and go sell it like it's a piece of meat. That's the way it feels to me when the IRS take these children's money. It's like, you send your child out with $1 to get their lunch. And there's somebody twice their size standing out there on the corner and just gonna punch them in the face and take their money, and they gotta go all day without eating. But on this case, it's the United States of America, the IRS, that's doing it. And they may get kicked out of their homes. Their parents may lose their car. And they'll be sitting on a park bench somewhere all night. Out in this heat and this rain with nowhere to go. And the president's going to walk into the White House and walk into his nice bedroom. And his children are going to walk into their nice bedrooms and lay down and go to sleep. I don't understand what kind of a man he is. I really and truly don't. When he can send a memo to that IRS office tomorrow and says, release the child earned income tax credit to their parents. And we're going to worry about their student loan debt later. Excuse me. I just think it's time more people in America should get upset and get angry. Because these children have done nothing wrong. These children, just like the dreamers, have done nothing wrong but be born. The Democrats, I guess they wish maybe they'd all been aborted or something. I don't know. Because how in the world are you going to run out your rant and rave to outlaw abortion, but then after a person gets here, you're not going to want to take care of them? But yet you're willing to run and take care of refugees in Syria. You're ready to bring illegals in the country and put them up. But you will not give the American, most of the time single mothers, sometimes single dads, and sometimes just plain low-income families, their child earned income tax credit. Nobody's asking for anything but what the programs that the government has set up to help the very low income. That's why I say it seems like this country has got a vendetta, a strong vendetta against the low income people in this country, and especially low income children. I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. There is no reason in the world why the government won't pay these children their child earned income tax credit money. There is no reason in this world. If we have to cut back on the money that's going, the $4.5 billion that President Obama sent to Syria, that's fine with me. Cut back on it and give these children that child earned income tax credit money. If we have to cut back on the illegals, the help that you give the illegals, I have no problem with that. Give these children their child earned income tax credit money. Fair is fair. I mean, who is being the racist now when primarily the people that this hurts the most is the blacks, the very low legal Latins? It certainly hurts the Native American Indians. So who is the racist now? Who is the racist? To me, a racist is a person that stands up and let a child go hungry or not have a place to stay when the child is due its money and they are withholding it. That is a racist to me. A racist to me does not always mean a person that uses a negative term about another race. A racist is a person who hurts that other race or hurts somebody in their own race that is down and out and struggling. That is a racist to me. And the President of the United States, the Democrats, the Democratic pretty much legal media. They are the racists in this country because the media, the major media could be doing a story every day about how the IRS is holding these children's earned income tax credits to pay on their parents' debt. When did this country start holding children, minor children, responsible for their parents' debt? When did we go down that slippery slope? When did we go down that slippery slope that we're going to say a 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 10, 15-year-old child has got to pay off their parents' debt in the United States of America? And the president of this country could do something. He says he has a pen and he's not afraid to use it. But he will not use it. So if he's not afraid to use it, then he's not using it to help these very, very low income people because he don't want to use it. Because he don't care. He's always talking about he has a pen and he is not afraid to use it. So if you've got a pen and you're not afraid to use it, pick up that pen and send an email to the IRS and say, release these children's earned income tax credit checks today. Because we are not going to hold minor children responsible for their parents' debt. We are not that kind of a country. We are not that kind of a country. We are better than that. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking is for to do the right thing. I mean, I don't understand where our black leaders are in this country right now. Have they been beat down so, and they are so politically correct that they would rather see low-income children go hungry, be put out on the streets, rather than stand up to this all-black president and to this Democrats and to this liberal media? Are they so politically correct that they are scared to say anything? I know a few blacks have made it. But I just want you to think the price that your ancestors paid for you to make it. And when you start turning your back on the lowest of your own race, who need the most help, you are a racist. You all are racist. And you want to rant and holler about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not in the IRS. Donald Trump is not holding these children's child earned income tax credit checks. He's not doing that. It's the Democratic president and the IRS and the liberal media that's doing that because they're not standing up shouting out about the unfairness of it. I would love to try to get some of the women on this program and let you hear directly from them how not receiving that child earned income tax credit has destroyed their life. They have lost their apartments. They have lost the homes that they were renting. They have lost their cars. They have had their lights cut out, their water cut off. Where is our leaders? And this can be so easily fixed. This can be so easily fixed. I mean, I am just so angry. I am so angry when I think of that Lois Lerner who screwed up in the IRS and she kept all that big, humongous pension. She screwed up big time. And the Democrats let her walk out of there with all that retirement money. And yet they are withholding these children's earned income tax credit checks for a bill that their parents did. Their parents didn't screw up on purpose. Their parents screwed up because they can't get a decent job. And yet the government, the Democrats, let her walk with all that money out of the IRS. You see what I'm saying? Who is the racist here, people? Who is really the racist in this country? The racist, as far as I'm concerned, is people who set out to hurt other people. That is a racist to me. Standing up calling somebody a racist name or a racist slur doesn't bother me. But when somebody withholds these children's money like that and they are hurting, to me, that is a racist who is out to hurt other people. And it should not be tolerated. If we had a president with any caring in his heart, before he left office, he would pick up that pen, or he would get on that computer, or he would tweet the IRS and say, this is not what we do. We do not take children's money in this country. We do not do that. And he could solve this problem. I mean, I don't think he understands how he could really solve so many problems for a lot of these children and how it could make so many of these children's lives better tomorrow. That's all I'm asking you to do, Mr. President, and the Democrats and the IRS. All I'm asking you to do is to do the right thing. To do what you know in your heart is the right thing. We do not hold children responsible for their parents' debts. And when you take a child earned income tax credit money, you are holding that child responsible for their parents' student loan debts. And that is just not right. Please, America, please contact the president. Please contact your Democrats in Washington. Please contact the IRS and say, we are a country. We are not going to hold our children responsible for their parents' debt. When we told them to go to school, we made it easier for them to get these student loans, and now there is no jobs. It's just not fair. If we're going to give one group of children a pass because they have no control over what their parents do, we should give our low-income blacks and whites and Native Americans and legal Latin children, Haitians, legal Puerto Ricans, legal Cubans, the same right. But President Obama just seems to think all the country should care about is the dreamers. He can care about the dreamers, but he don't have to hold these natural-born American citizens' children's money for a debt that their parents made. We are better than that. We are better than that, Mr. President. So please contact the IRS and tell them that is not what we are. That is not who we are, and that is not what we do. And ask the IRS to please release the child earned income tax money. Please. This has been the View Exchange. I'm your host, Ann, and as always, we will talk later.
View Exchange, tune in weekly and listen in syndication exclusively at www.nostalradio.com.